So we're now live. But I've only got one member of the public viewing, which is not an applicant or any objectors. So we just need to wait for them to come online.
Is that Mr. Tremlett, or Tremlett? How do you pronounce it? Tremlett.
Yeah, Tremlett. Yeah, he's not showing as being online.
If he's indicated his attendance, Simon, is there any way of making contact? Possibly if we wait a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm just looking for his mobile number now. I'll give him a ring.
Thank you.
Sorry, he's now showing. So I can bring him in. So I'm just promoting him into the meeting.
And I'll just go for it.
Once everyone's present.
Good morning,
Chair.
Mr. Tremlett. I'm Carol Johnson. I've just brought you into the meeting.
Hi, Carol.
Hi, thank you very much. We'll do introductions in a moment.
Sorry, I was trying to log in via the browser and it wasn't working.
Okay.
Shemai, William, Mr. Tremlett, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Simai.
Yeah, are we all ready to start? Are you composed there? Are you happy that you've got everything that you need? Can I call you William?
Yeah.
Yeah, diolch. Okay then.
We've got no objectors showing at the moment, Chair. So if you want to just wait a little while, couple more minutes, just in case they've had any problems.
Okay.
As I say,
Who are you expecting? The more panelists?
No, the application contains some objectors, and we're given on the opportunity to present their case should they wish to. So we are just looking to see if they're late coming in or whatever.
Was it Lynn?
There is no name. The paperwork we get is anonymized, to be honest. So
I see,
but we're just giving everybody the benefit of or the opportunity to present their case should they wish to.
So Alwyn and Lynn, and there was another one. I met with 3 objectors last week, and I don't think they're going to be coming today because we worked it all out fine. But maybe So I think they won't be coming. Maybe she was quite stressed out about this hearing. To be honest, she was quite.
Okay. Well, bear with us for a couple of minutes or so.
Yeah. No rush.
Ydy ti yn y Machynlleth, y Beleiti?
The top of town.
Oh, right, okay. Okay.
Thumila Gorsaf Tan.
Oh, yeah, right.
Chair, just a reminder, we are now live on air.
Okay. Sorry.
So, no, I can't.
We're just waiting for the Democratic Services Officer to confirm whether there are any other people attending, William.
Well, Chair, there were 6 people that had made objections, and I say I've emailed all 6 advising them of the meeting and with a link to the meeting and also the agenda pack. 3 of those 6 advised that they would not be attending, but I've not heard from any of the others. And it's now, I've not had any emails from anybody to say that having difficulties getting into the meeting. So it's over to you, Chair.
Okay, then, if everybody is ready, I will commence the meeting. First of all, welcome, Mr. Tremlett. Welcome to a Powys County Council Licensing Subcommittee. I'm Councillor Hugh Williams, and I've been nominated as chair for this meeting today. I'd like to ask my fellow panelists just to introduce themselves.
Iawn, bore da. Fi di cynghorydd Bryn Davies, a dwi'n un o'r panelwyr. I'm just one of the panelists been drafted in for this meeting.
Good morning. My name's Councillor Deb Edwards, I'm a panelist on today's meeting.
Diolch yn fawr. Thank you. We do have other two officers in attendance, or three officers. We have the Principal Solicitor for Powys.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Tremlett. My name's Rachel Mole. I'm a solicitor and I'm the clerk to this hearing this morning. Nice to meet you.
We also have in attendance Carol Johnson, who is a Democratic Services Officer who manages and arranges these meetings. Okay. From there, then, I will ask, first of all, we all know you. Well, William, can you introduce yourself as well?
Sure. My name's William Tremlett. I'm one of the directors of Studio Dyfi, which is a kind of youth organisation based in Machynlleth, and I'm also the premise licence applicant for a youth project called Splodge in Machynlleth. And we're trying to get a licence to be able to hold little events more regularly. So yeah, and I've caused a bit of a commotion because I've slightly gone about it in the wrong way, but hopefully we can get this resolved today.
Okay. Okay then, so the subject of this meeting today is an application for a premises licence at Studio Dyfi in Machynlleth. We have present the officer, the licence officer, who will explain the authorities' case and present the report to the committee.
Chair.
Mr. Simon Lewis.
Bore da, Bob. Simon Lewis, Licence Officer for Powys.
Sorry, Rachel. Sorry, Rachel.
Sorry to interrupt you. I thought it might assist if I could just go over the procedure for this hearing this morning so everyone knows where effectively to come in and how this will go. Is that okay, Chair?
I would be grateful if you did that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. So yes, Ms. Tremlett, mainly for your benefit, just so you know, the procedure this morning, what will happen is Mr. Lewis, as a licensing officer for the authority, will present his report to the panel. The panel can raise any questions they wish arising from that. Then it's over to you. You can present your case to the panel for their consideration. So your opportunity to get across everything that you want to say about this application. And the panel can raise any questions that they wish to raise based on what you've said. Once everyone has had the opportunity to say everything that they want to say, what will happen is the panel, together with myself, will withdraw from this online room where they will deliberate and come to a decision. If you can wait where you are virtually, the panel and myself will come back into this room and the decision will be delivered to you today. That will then be followed up in writing by myself to make you aware you do have a 21-day period to appeal any decision. Do you have any questions based on that?
Nope. Do you mind if I go and grab a glass of water?
Oh, no, you carry on. Come as quickly as you can, I would suggest.
Thank you. So,
Right.
okay.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to ask the Council's representative, Mr. Simon Lewis, to present the report.
Diolch. The application is that on the 16th of January this year, an application for a premises licence was received for Studio Dyfi, Unit 2, Bank Lane, Machynlleth. A copy of the application and a plan of the premises are reproduced at Annex A. The proposed premises is a versatile multi-use space with a traditional stone building. It is designed to serve as a community-focused hub for young adults aged 18 to 29. The venue will host a wide range of social, cultural, and creative activities, including workshops, film screenings, and live music events, with a capacity of 50 for standing events and 30 for seated events. The applicant and the licensing authority satisfied procedural obligations by consulting the responsible authorities and advertising the application. The applicant has applied for a premises license authorizing sale of alcohol Monday to Sunday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Live music Monday to Saturday, 6 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. and Sunday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Recorded music Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. and Sunday, 10:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. And finally, films, Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. As far as representations, objections are concerned, there were no objections from any of the responsible authorities. There were, however, objections from other persons. These representations have been received and the details are detailed at Annex B. The application has presented some documentation to be considered at Annex C. Options. In determining the application for the premises license, the subcommittee must take such steps as are considered appropriate to promote the licensing objectives, being 1, the prevention of crime and disorder, 2, public safety, 3, the prevention of public nuisance, 4, the protection of children from harm. If appropriate, make reference to the Licensing Act 03 guidance or our licensing policy if it relates to any of the points raised by the objectors. The options here are to A, grant the application as submitted by the applicant without modification, with the exception of the inclusion of mandatory conditions under Section 19 of the Licensing Act 2003 pertaining to the supply of alcohol. Or B, grant a license with modified conditions, or C, reject the whole or part of the application. Determination. The licensing subcommittee is requested to determine the application. All licensing determinations should be considered on a case-by-case basis. They should take into account any representations or objections that have been received from responsible authorities or other persons, and representations made by the applicant or premises user, as the case may be. The authority's determination should be evidence-based, justified as being appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives, and proportionate to what it is intended to achieve. Determination of whether an action or step is appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives requires an assessment of what action or step would be suitable to achieve that end. While this does not therefore require a licensing authority to decide that no lesser step will achieve the aim, the authority should aim to consider the potential burden that the condition would impose on the premises license holder, such as a financial burden due to restrictions on licensable activities, as well as the potential benefit in terms of promotion of the licensing objectives. However, it is imperative that the authority ensures that the factors which form the basis of its determination are limited to consideration of the promotion of the 4 objectives and nothing outside those parameters. That's the report, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. And having read the report, I can vouch as well. It is a detailed report, so thank you for that. I turn to my fellow panelists to ask whether there are any questions of Mr. Lewis to be asked. Councillor Edwards?
No, Chair, I've got no questions at the moment.
And Councillor Davies?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you, Diolch.
Okay, and I will ask Mr. Tremlett, do you have any questions of Mr. Lewis? And as I said, so questions at the minute, you have an opportunity to put your case separately in a minute, but these are questions on the, I suppose, the factual and the content of what Mr. Lewis has said.
There are some new developments. So some of the details there is some updates, but I can give that in my next bit.
By all means. So there's no questions.
No.
Right. Thank you very much for that. What I would ask Mr. Lewis, it is a 7 days a week operation that we are looking at. Are we confident that that license can be monitored? And
sorry, that's maybe I should have said. So we've changed the opening hours quite considerably since then. So maybe
okay,
it might be worth chatting about that after.
I'll give you that opportunity now. I appreciate that. So does my question still hold in any shape or form, Mr. Lewis, to you?
That's not something that the licensing authority can have any control over, whether the conditions are policed. Certainly, once the license is granted, if it is granted, then obviously it's subject to the normal policing arrangements, i.e. the police will intervene if there are complaints of any nature. Also, the licensing authority are able to intervene if there are complaints. That's the normal practice. It'll be reactive to any complaints.
Right. And can I ask, the objectors mention an issue with a possible issue with noise and what have you? Is there any mitigating sort of evidence within the report that suggests that it can be?
One of the responsible authorities is Environmental Protection, whose remit is for the County Council to monitor any noise complaints. They've been party to the consultation and have replied to us that they've got no objections or concerns with the application.
Right, okay. And within the building, perhaps where it's not a licensing, is there any sort of sound dampening? Is there an insulation that it may not be a licensing issue really, but it would be relevant to that?
That's nothing that was contained in the application, and certainly there's been no requirement from Environmental Protection to impose anything of that nature on the premises.
Okay, thank you. Unless does anybody else have any questions that they would like to ask of Mr. Lewis?
Well, is this an opportune time to ask? It's the license? Obviously, you're applying for the option to do things 7 days a week. But is it the intention to open every day like a licensed premises, like a pub, or is it for events as and when so you've got some flexibility in timing of these?
Is that a question for the licensing officer, or perhaps Mr. Tremlett himself? I would defer.
Yeah, okay, yeah, do your take, yeah.
Yes, so please ask that question. But at the minute, do we have any other further questions of Mr. Lewis on his report? Thank you. Right, I will now turn to Mr. Tremlett. It's your opportunity to represent yourself, to give your view on what the application is.
Sure. So I guess, I mean, I think firstly I should probably apologise for get everyone the kind of slight commotion, because we should have gone and chatted to the all the local residents before we submitted the application. We knew we were going to be putting an application in for a while. I've hands up in the air. It's my first time doing one, so it was a new process for me. I think, yeah, so because I mean, we need to have some licensed activity in order to essentially just make the rent of the building. It's a volunteer run project, and we have received some funding to cover costs. They don't cover all the costs, but they so what we're hoping is that through additional kind of activity where we can kind of ticket events, be it a talk or a comedy night or some live music or a film screening, that can bring in the additional income we need to break even on the space. So yeah, as I said, so it's a volunteer run project, and we applied for, I guess, the maximum hours we might utilize, but it's very unlikely to be used anywhere near those maximum hours. It will be open every day, but it won't be we won't have licensed activity happening every day. So I mean, so during the day, I mean, in mornings, it will be used as an internet cafe kind of thing. So we'll have like fast internet. So and then during the afternoon, it will be used as a gallery. So it will be open, but those aren't licensed activities. And then we'd be looking to host some events during the week. But okay, so I wish I'd gone round and knocked on all the doors of the neighbours and chatted to everyone first. It was the intention, but I sort of just ran out of time. I am a volunteer on this project, and although I put in a lot more hours than a volunteer should really, but because as soon as we started, so once we had the objections, we sent out an invitation to a consultation meeting at the space. So that happened last Tuesday, I'm gonna say last week. And 3 residents came along, and these were the residents that were they were closest to the building, so right adjacent to the building, and their concerns were nuisance and basically just disrupting I think they saw our opening hours and thought, oh my god, it's going to be a full-time bar and pub and event space, which is going to be non-stop noise. So they were really concerned, and so they came. I met with them, and then we co-designed like a new proposal with that they were going to be happy with. So a kind of new license, new opening hours, and new opening days for licensable activity, because what we presented initially was a bit overkill really for our needs. So I will just read through the new what we came up with as a kind of collaborative exercise, which in hindsight we should have really done from the start, because I think we would have avoided most, if not all, objections.
Leanne, before you start that, can I take just some advice from the principal solicitor? If the times are changed now, we are still able to decide on the matter. It doesn't have a consequence. We can accept those if it is acceptable to us, if you see what I mean.
Chair, so yes, you'd hear what's being put forward, so you look at the application, but bearing in mind you've got options based on what you hear to grant the license as it's applied, or make modifications or deny the application.
Okay, diolch yn fawr, thank you. Sorry, William, if you couldn't continue, sorry.
No, that's fine. So so we designed a version 2 of the license essentially, and then this version 2 is then sent to the residents the same day, and also forwarded on to Simon at Paris Licensing to forward on to any further objectors. And within this email, we also contained an invite to a second consultation meeting on the following Monday. So the Monday just gone, to further refine the licensing hours and to discuss any grievances with any additional objectors. And the 3 objectors who we co-designed the version 2 with said, as long as they basically said, as long as we do a decibel check, and we'll see how it goes basically, and we'll just stay in contact, and we'll make sure that it's something that there's an ongoing dialogue between, so that we don't want to disrupt anything. You know, they're retired, so they just want to have a nice retirement. They don't want to have major disruptions all the time, and we don't want to be the cause of those disruptions either. So I think we've got a really nice working relationship in order to kind of meet our objectives as a project, which are create activity for our beneficiary group and the wider community, and generate some amount of income that we can put towards rent and bills for the premise. So I'll just read out. I've got this 1-page document which went out to the local residents. I don't know if it's pretty. So local residents have voiced understandable concern that our initial proposal might cause nuisance and disruption to local people. Studio W takes these concerns very seriously and has since met with 3 local residents who objected to our initial license proposal. During the consultation meeting, locals expressed a concern that the proximity to their homes could lead to a disruption in their lives. Below is version 1 of the licensing, which you have already heard. And this is what local residents initially objected to. So sale of alcohol Monday to Sunday, 6 to 10:30, live music Friday to Saturday. Oh, hang on. No, live music Monday to Sunday. Hang on. Well, I've got a mistake in the version 1, but you've heard version 1. So I'll move on to version 2. In collaboration with local residents at Thursday's consultation meeting, we drafted the following hours of activity with greatly reduced live music hours, limited to only Fridays and Saturdays. Furthermore, closing hours across the board are now limited to 9:30 as opposed to 10:30 across the week for all types of activity. An important clause in this friendly agreement is that a decibel test be conducted prior to activity taking place. And basically bringing in a sound professional to test the decibel levels, so that we know what noise is acceptable within the building that isn't going to disrupt our closest neighbours. And then we will also have a decibel meter in the building, which our staff will monitor during any kind of events or anything. So this is a kind of key thing, really, is monitoring the decibel meter and making sure it stays within our agreed limit with our neighbours. This is a fair measure to ensure that activities can begin. Residents will also be given free entry to any events. They like that one. so they get a gold card, and they're gonna, yeah, by the end of it, they were quite excited to come along to stuff. So it is a youth project, but it's not only for youth. So it's a youth-led project where we put young adults in leadership roles. So that doesn't mean it's just a hangout spot for young adults. It's a event. It's a space open to all. I mean, if it was just for young adults, in the 20s, we wouldn't have many people in there, because it's a bit of a minority demographic. But what it's about is creating leadership roles and creating high quality kind of skills development opportunities for young adults often. So so for film screenings, for example, it'd be the young adults running the screenings, same with the live events, or so the activity is steered by young adults, but it's open to everyone. So I'll just go through the version 2 of the license, which is reduced. So the main concern for local residents at the consultation meeting was the nuisance, and the loud thing in that is the live music. So the live music was the main kind of concern. Bands and whatnot, and which would be nice to have, because what we would really like to be able to have kind of regular live events. We've limited it now to Friday and Saturdays, and then the times for those live events are between 6 and 9:30, so 3.5 hours. We've got a slot available for 3.5 hours twice a week, and that won't always be used. Those slots won't always be used, but it might be once a week or twice a month or something. And then for those live musics, that's the key event, really, to ensure that the decibel levels don't exceed what we've agreed with our neighbours. So they seemed less bothered about the sale of alcohol. So it's not the sale of alcohol is, initially we weren't even going to have the sale of alcohol in the space, but I thought I needed a premise license holder to put in the application for a premise license. So I did my premise license holder certificate, only to find out I didn't need that. I could have put the premise license in without the alcohol. But so by the time I did my premise license holder certificate, I thought, well, let's put the alcohol in anyway. It will generate some additional income. So the sale of alcohol is supplementary to events rather than a core kind of focus of the project. So some people come in for a talk, they are able to have a bottle of beer or a glass of wine whilst they watch. So it's a limited sale of alcohol between 6 and 9:30. So the residents seemed less bothered about that. They were more bothered about the live music. But what we discussed was, if people are coming out drunk and making nuisance in the street, we would just take away the sale of alcohol, because it's not an essential aspect of the project. It would create some additional income, and people do enjoy it, but if it creates additional noise in the street or antisocial behavior, we will just suspend that element of the license. We don't really have a problem with that, as it's not a fundamental aspect to the project.
Okay.
So recorded music, from what I understand of it, is sort of like background music. So when you go in somewhere and there's a kind of the radio playing, that's recorded music. So we've kept that Monday to Saturday. We've actually taken Sunday out of all of our licensable activity as well. So even recorded music isn't available on Sunday. So what else have we done? And then we've had our last licensable activity is films, which we've kept Monday to Saturday, and we've kept the times very open, i.e. 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. This isn't because we're going to be showing films all week. It just gives us that flexibility if there isn't a workshop on or there isn't any other activity happening. It gives us the opportunity to put a film screening on. And they could be one in the middle of the day. What we'd like to do is we would like to have like 2 or 3 film screenings a week. We don't have many, we only have 21 chairs. So they're not going to be big gatherings. So they're kind of small gatherings. Film screenings usually average about 15 people per screening. So they're quite small and manageable. And we'll be using a hi-fi sound system for that, which has quite a limited throw for unlike kind of live music events, which use PA systems. The sound will be quite it won't be like a cinema, for example, with the big subwoofers and things like that. It's smaller speakers, and it'd be quite a small intimate events. So we have kept the film screenings wide because we don't expect that to be disruptive or noisy. And yeah, so as I say, the main concern really was the live music, and which are going to be the noisy ones really. But by working, I think what we just want to do is work with our neighbours to make sure that
okay.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if there's anything else that I need to.
No, that's pretty comprehensive in fairness to you, yeah.
I think maybe that, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. So it's because it's with the live music, for example, it's what we'll have is we've got an application process where people are able to pitch their project to the space. So it won't just be, it's not a hire a space kind of thing. It's quite a controlled environment. So in order for an event to happen, so we've got around 40 young adults who have signed up to the project. And in order to put on an event, they have to go through an application process, which then goes past our programming committee. And then, so, on the application, it's about helping young adults if they've got an interest in events management, or it's about kind of providing a kind of nurturing space for them to do that in a kind of in a way with mentorship opportunities on the side. So we have professionals involved on the programming committee who can help young people help people do it in a kind of like proper way with proper support. So that, I guess, is like I think with the live music, it's almost like a training space rather than so even if only 10 people show up, that's fine. We'll generate a bit of revenue, and it will create a kind of educational space for these people.
Okay.
So I think maybe I need to just open it up because I've been talking and rambling on for ages.
No, that's grand. Can I ask? That's very detailed report, in fairness to you. Before I turn to my fellow panelists, can you confirm the licensing hours that you've reviewed those and altered them? Can you just, for my sake, if nobody else's sake, can you, for the license, because you're obviously open longer than what you're asking for the license for, so can you repeat the exact days and times
Sure.
that this application refers to?
Sure. Do you want the general opening hours as well as so we've got.
No, I don't think so. It's the licensing hours that we need.
Yeah.
They're different to what was in the original report.
They are, yeah. They're much reduced. Sale of alcohol, Monday to Saturday, 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Right.
Live music, Friday.
The Sunday, you said there's no need for a license on a Sunday.
No, we've just taken Sunday off completely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the thing is if from my point of view as the license applicant, having it a bit more reduced kind of suits me a bit better because I'm a volunteer, and yeah, I slightly regretted keeping such long hours because suddenly I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to monitor.
No, that's fair enough, William. I mean that explains. Thank you. Sorry if I've had to just.
No, let me just. I'll give you the rest of the times now. So hang on. There we go. So yeah, live music Friday to Saturday, and that's been reduced to 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Okay. Okay.
And then recorded music has changed slightly by taking away Sundays, and also now it finishes at 9:30. So it's Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And then films Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Right.
So yeah, so we've still got kind of quite on the things.
It's an extensive programming, to be honest, so
yeah.
Thank you. Can I turn to my fellow panelists to ask if they have any questions of William?
Yeah.
Councillor Bryn, I did interrupt you earlier on.
Oh no, well, yeah, my concern, I think the impression I get is it's an extremely worthwhile project, and the studio, Dovey, and it'd be great to have something similar in every other town in Maldon, something to keep the young people interested. My question is really part of the reason for the license application was to make it help it for the viability of the project, help pay the rent, etc. And my concern with I can see from your point of view as the license holder that it's a lot of work, but are you not restricting your ability to put on events with the reduced hours and the reduced licensing? I'm thinking you're hoping to attract people up 18 to 29. Well, most of those in the area will be working people. They might not finish their work till 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. 9:30 seems like a bit of an impediment to me. And live music performances don't usually happen that early. And venues are hard to come by if you've got people on tours like folk musicians traveling the country. Especially going from north to south or south to north, Machynlleth's an ideal stop off part, maybe for midweek gigs, etc. My concern really is the is the reduced licensing. I agree entirely with the noise. I hope the noise should be decibels monitors preventing the volume traveling, the noise leaking out of the building. But would the viability of a project not be better served with the original application hours?
I mean, yes, it would be better to be able to open later. 9:30 is a bit early, but I've agreed it with the local residents, and because one of the residents goes to bed at 10 a.m. So if we do 9:30, then everyone can leave and not be leaving whilst they're going to sleep. you know, talking loudly in the street, etc. So it would, yeah, the preference would be to open that bit later, really. But I think we are in a residential area, and I think even though the opening hours it's not super long. I mean, so we used to run film screenings at MoMA Machynlleth at the Tabernacle. We had to stop because it was too expensive to hire the space, but we started the film screenings at 6, and what people, I mean, yeah, people just sort of rush back from work, and but it is a shame, because a lot of it will mean that on weekdays, people who are working until 5 or 6 o'clock will often miss out. It is true, but it's what we've it's a compromise we're going to have to make in order to work with our neighbours, I think.
Okay, Councillor Bryn, do you have a follow-up question? Or?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to stop you operating in those hours, even if the license extended to the original hours. It's up to the management then to decide actually which hours within the licensed hours you actually operate. I would possibly suggest that flexibility is something you might be able to take advantage of. But yeah, no follow-up question really.
Okay. Councillor Edwards, do you have a question?
I've just got to agree with Bryn, to be quite honest, Chair. I mean, I have concerns by the agreement that you've taken with the residents, and I can understand why you have. Is that it's simple things like if you had a gallery shown in the afternoon, you wouldn't be able to serve glasses of wine if you went for that liquor license. But I mean, yeah, again, it's agreement. I mean, with the residents around you, isn't it? But as for questions, no, I think you absolutely covered it really, really well. And again, it's for the youth of the area. It sounds like an exciting project that you've got coming forward, especially to promote the culture of the area. And yeah, fantastic. I'll leave it at that, Chair. Thank you.
Okay then. I will ask Mr. Lewis, Simon, if you have any questions of the applicant.
No questions at all. Just to make the applicant aware that he can put in temporary event notices to cover any one-off events. For example, if you've got a live band a bit later on some occasions, you can use temporary event notices to cover that.
Okay then, Mr. Tremlett, you've given your report. You've been questioned. Is there anything else that you wish to add to what you have already said?
Have I tried too hard to appease the local residents? I think yeah, it is a shame with the finishing. It's being able to start it not too late. I guess for film screenings, they're not so long, so they're usually an hour and a half. So if that's the kind of thing, you can start at 8 o'clock and finish. So that's a lot easier for people who finish work to get there too. And for live music, it's still 3.5 hours of live music. 6 p.m. to, is it 3.5 hours? Hang on, yeah, it's 3.
Yes.
Yeah, 3.5 hours. Which it's a small space. That's the thing. It's not. I don't think you could kind of describe it as it's not like the Plas in Machynlleth, which is quite that's quite a large event space, and you can make a lot of noise there and have, and you're not going to impact any local residents. Whereas this space is, it's not, so there's not loads of residential buildings around in the immediate area, but I think the key ones are the next door neighbours ones, and they are close. So I think it really is about just working with them and maybe getting them on board, really, because I think if they feel that they're being disrupted all the time by the project, then they will in their, I think, in as they have a right to, they will just put the kibosh on the project. Whereas if we really involve them and make them feel like they're part of the project and they can influence what happens, then I do think that we're going to have a lot more success on that front. So, but I do appreciate what you're saying, and I do agree. But I think this is a 2-year project, and then after that 2 years, our funding finishes, which isn't loads of funding, which is why we want the premise license. It's just enough to get it going, and then and also our premise license comes to it. Our lease comes to an end. So it may be that the project ends up, maybe that the project ends up somewhere else in town that's more suitable to those longer hours and to more extensive things. But I think these hours give it the opportunity to seed and to maybe take root, and then in the future it can move and develop into something more substantial if there's demand for that.
Okay then. Are you satisfied that you've been able to say and put forward all that you want, Mr. Tremlett?
I am, yeah. Thank you for.
And I will ask across the board here to Mr. Lewis if there's anything that you need to say or to ask at the end here.
Nothing further, thank you, Chair.
Right. What I will ask in that case now is that Mr. Lewis gives a final comment, should you have anything to say, to conclude your part of the proceedings.
So the application is for the original hours that I outlined in my report. Obviously, there has been a agreement with the local residents that Mr. Tremlett has put forward a second set of hours. Obviously, as Rachel mentioned, it's your decision whether you agree and grant the license as the original application, or whether you agree to reduce or put conditions on the license, or whether you reject the whole of the license in total. So that's the decision put for you today.
Thank you. William, I'll give you a last opportunity for a final statement on the proceedings. Anything that you need to ask or have forgotten, by all means say it now. We'd rather hear it from you than not.
I think I've got everything in. Thank you.
Okay then, thank you very much all. In that case, I turn to, we will withdraw now, William, to consider the matter. I will defer to Carol Johnson, our Democratic Service Officer, to administer that. So we will leave. Please stay there, but I'm sure Carol will advise.
Yep. So thank you, Chair.
Yourself.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll be moving the committee members plus Rachel, the solicitor, into to backstage, and Simon Lewis and William Tremlett and myself will stay this side of the meeting. Okay. So William and Simon, if you want to mute your microphones so that anything that you're saying won't be picked up on the live webcast. Okay. So I'm just moving now. So Councillor Hugh, I'm moving you. Deb Edwards, I'm moving you. Councillor Bryn, moving you. And then Rachel. So, yep. So the members have moved with Rachel to the backstage to deliberate, and the rest of us will be staying in the main meeting. So Chair, over to you.
Thank you very much, Carol. Mr. Tremlett, thank you for your time today. We have considered the application, and we have come to a conclusion after much debate, and we have gone through your report, and we've acknowledged what you've said, and obviously the officers' reports as well. With that in mind, our decision is that we will grant the license, but I will spell out the conditions and the opening times to you that we've considered appropriate. So these are Monday to Saturday, 6 till 9:30. The alcohol license will be available.
Sure. Oh, hang on, let me just write these down.
Monday to Saturday, 6 till 9:30, alcohol. Live music, Friday and Saturday, 6 till 9:30.
Yeah.
Monday to Saturday, 10 o'clock till 9:30, recorded music.
Yeah.
And the last one, the Monday to Saturday, 10 till 9:30, which was, I've lost it. Films. So there's no license activity on a Sunday. We recognise, and perhaps you've recognised, that the concern of the community has been reflected in this decision. So we would hope that you, and it sounds as though you have in your consultation with the community, must act appropriately to ensure that these licensing conditions are upheld. And I believe that is it. I'd like to thank you again for your attendance.
Yeah.
I will say that the principal solicitor will write to you with a summary of these decisions, and all that's left afterwards is to say thank you to yourself, to Mr. Simon Lewis and Rachel Moore, the principal officer, solicitor, and Carol for their support today. So diolch yn fawr, and to my fellow councillors as well. So diolch yn fawr, thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you for looking at the application kindly.
Okay, so you will be written to.
Brilliant.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr i chi gyd.
Hwyl i chi.
Thanks everyone. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.